chocolate is scrunches when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
Milk chocolate, so creamy. Blending Krispies, ooh, so dreamy. Gotta have it, it's so scrumptious. Love that chocolate when it crunches. Crunches! Chocolate is scrumptious when it crunches. That's why I love Nestle Crunch.
During the early 80s, when The Facts of Life was one of TV's most popular programs, I remember Geri Jewell's frequent appearances as Blair Warner's cousin, also named Geri. Those episodes were not only memorable, they were groundbreaking because Geri, who has cerebral palsy, was the first disabled actor to have a recurring role on a TV series. And to top all of that off, the lady was very, very funny. Always a good trait to have when you're on a situation comedy. Yet with all of her talent, it is entirely possible that Geri might not have ever graced our TV screens if not for a brief but memorable interaction with an iconic TV star during her youth. More on that in just a moment, but first let me introduce myself. Hi folks, my name is Dave Sundstrom, and I like to think of myself as something of a pop culture historian, especially when it comes to music, movies, and television. Simply put, I love talking about this stuff. So with that said, let's get rolling. Between 1980 and 1984, Geri made frequent appearances on The Facts of Life. She may have continued appearing on the program if not for some unscrupulous actions of her then manager, who would later on be arrested for embezzlement and security fraud. But that is a story for another day. Way back then, Geri and Lisa Whelchel, the actress who played Blair on the show, developed an incredible friendship. They were so close, in fact, that the two ended up being roommates for almost a year. But if you're thinking that Lisa is the person that forever changed Geri's life, well, you're mistaken. Instead, we need to travel further back in time. Back to when Geri was a young girl. As you might have guessed, cerebral palsy isn't the easiest thing to have to deal with, especially when you're a little kid. Despite her best efforts to develop friendships with the other children in the neighborhood, there were times when she would be excluded. And you know what? It feels horrible to be left out. We've all been there. And when those all too frequent moments occurred, Geri would find comfort by escaping to a world full of laughter on her television set. And one of Geri's favorite TV programs was The Carol Burnett Show. I have to believe that it was while watching Carol that a seed of an idea started to grow in Geri that she too could be a comedian. So she wrote Carol a letter and explained her situation and asked her what she thought about her chances of making it in the world of comedy. In that letter, she told Carol that she was amazed that people were laughing with her and not at her. She also said that she wasn't confident that she would have the courage to confront people who might dismiss her or devalue her presence because of her disability. Truthfully, Geri didn't know if she'd ever hear back from Carol. But even if she didn't, I have to believe the exercise of putting pen to paper about her fears was beneficial. A few weeks later, Geri did get a letter back from the comedic legend. In that letter, Carol told her that while the entertainment industry, and comedy in particular, can be tough, if she were determined and kept putting one foot in front of the other, she could get where she wanted to go. It was just the validation and the type of advice that Geri needed. And over the course of the next decade or so, Geri would frequently think back to that letter as she worked on achieving her dreams. And the rest, as they say, is television history. You know, Geri's career has had its share of highs and lows. She talks about them all in a book titled I'm Walking as Straight as I Can, which currently has a 5-star rating on Amazon.com. Based on the reviews, it would seem like this might be a really fascinating read. I'll post a link to it in the description section if you're interested in grabbing a copy. I'm sure that the book also talks about Geri's work on the television series Deadwood, which aired on HBO from 2004 until 2006. The show was popular enough to have a follow-up movie that just aired a few years ago, in 2019, I believe. In that show, Geri played a character that she helped co-create named Jewell. What a couple of amazing ladies. Alright, now it's your turn. Please share your memories in the comments section, and if you like this video, I would truly appreciate a thumbs up. Maybe even share it on Facebook or Twitter, and what the heck, why not consider subscribing to my channel? I talk about music, movies, and mostly TV from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
So my husband says to me, Roseanne, you've been working real hard. How about if we take the kids out for pan pizza and you can eat at the salad bar? So I says, well, what a great idea, honey. While you and the kids are eating a hot, steamy, cheesy pizza, I can be off in the corner grazing on a delightful array of sprouts and garbanzo beans. Get real.
You know, it's not often that I can point to a specific TV program and say that it positively impacted the television entertainment industry in a way that few other programs have. But I can do that with the program Ironside. I really can. This show told the story of Robert T. Ironside, a former San Francisco chief of detectives who is paralyzed from the waist down by a sniper's bullet. Now a consultant to the police department, Ironside week after week for 8 seasons on NBC solved crimes using brains over brawn. To my knowledge, it was the first time on U.S. television that a disabled fictional character was the focus of a program, and that is why Ironside changed television for the better. It broke new ground. The stories were not only innovative, but they had a ton of heart and never ever treated Burr's character as if he were defeated by the tragic circumstances that led to his disability. After Ironside, other programs would follow. A few that come to mind are Longstreet, starring James Franciscus as a blind insurance investigator. Star Trek The Next Generation, of course, had Lieutenant Geordi LaForge, who was blind. And Reasonable Doubts was a legal drama that paired Mark Harmon with Marlee Matlin, a deaf actress who played a character with the same disability. In all of these shows, these characters are treated in a positive, upbeat way, focusing on their abilities while acknowledging their challenges. But those challenges are just that. They're things that can be overcome in a manner that puts them on equal footing with everyone else that they share the screen with.
Howdy, folks. My name is Fiji Perkins, and tonight's show is brought to you by Fartin' Fiji's sweet and sour sizzling sausages, chicken, shrimp, or clam flavored. Always fresh, always firm, we're wending our way to you. And remember our motto, if you can't beat it, eat it.
I say this calls for action, and now, nip it in the bud.
Michelle Pfeiffer? The only true Catwoman is Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, or Eartha Kitt. And I didn't need molded plastic to improve my physique. Pure West.
Good morning, angels.
Good morning, Charlie.
I love it when a plan comes together.
It's time. Let's talk about music, movies, and mostly television from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff.
The Live Stream Code and Rating Administration has rated this online event PG. All ages admitted. Please be kind and stay on topic.
Let me unmute the mic first. Good evening to one and all. Welcome to the Good Stuff Live. My name is Dave Sundstrom. And if you enjoy talking about music, movies, mostly TV, well, then you've come to the right place. We are here tonight to talk about, well, this is going to be a really interesting live stream. I'm excited for it tonight. We've got a special guest, and we're just going to have, I hopefully have a really enlightening conversation. Much like the live streams I've done over the past few weeks, I probably won't be able to spend a ton of time looking at the comments right now because I am going to be focusing on our guest, but we will dedicate a portion of the live stream for Q&A in just a little bit. So we'll get there. So I'll kind of keep an eye out. I'm keeping an eye out for those dreaded bots and that kind of thing, but I do want to focus on our guests. But we'll get to questions and answers and those kind of things. I do want to greet the people that are here, though, so far. So let me tell you who I see. I see Daryl Johnston, Superfan Superplex, Superfan Tracy Ruff Myers, Tom McCluskey, The Hungry Jerk, Ben McAdams. Great to have you here. Superfan Kevin Davis, Superfan Bisnicio, Lance Chaffin's here, Skip Rock Jr.'s here, Dorothea Walker's here, but Superfan Buddy Mills, Laura Strobel, Superfan Ian Carlin, aka Retro Serial Channel, Superfan Dave Claroni, Danny Staten's here, Superfan Emily Miller, Kenneth Wilkinson. Let's see who else. Do I see anyone else here so far? Oh, Larry Potter's here. I think that, Thresh Pondo Pons is here as well. That's awesome. Superfan Dominic D is here. Sarita Abney's here. Karen Lester is here. Lots of folks. This is the community I love. Thanks so much for joining me this evening. I do have a couple of super chats that I want to get out of the way, and I also want to acknowledge tonight's executive producers. So let me do that real quick here. Tonight's executive producers, these are people that drop super chats into the live stream before the darn thing even started, so there's no way for me to acknowledge them in any other way than to give them an executive producer credit, which is exactly what we're doing for my friend John Collins and Kevin Connor. Both of these folks are just such great avid supporters of the channel, and I thank them for being executive producers of this live stream tonight. And I actually have a little video, a new video, a brand new thank you video that I want to play for my executive producers. Let me see if I can track that one down real quick. Oh, good gravy. There it is. Yes, none other than P.W. Herman. Thank you for your support. We've had a couple other super chats since then, and I want to acknowledge those as well. First off, Langer1234 said, unfortunately, I won't have time to watch live tonight, but wanted to thank you for bringing back such fond memories and for the positivity and enthusiasm you bring. Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the support. Additionally, Larry Potter dropped in a super chat, said, have a great night, Dave. Well, thank you. You know what? I appreciate your support as always, Larry, and your continued engagement on the channel. So thanks to both of you for your kindness and for your support.
I have created the ultimate weapon to defeat Austin Powers. Bring in the fembots!
Love those Austin Powers movies, and thank you so much for your support. Both Langer1234 and Larry Potter. Additionally, I've got a lot of housekeeping I've got to handle tonight. Look at this. Look at this. sharply dressed man. That's Danny Staton, sporting the latest in high fashion, a Good Stuff t-shirt. And there's John Collins, also sporting another t-shirt that you can pick up at the Good Stuff store. This one, the VHS. Had to mute for a second there. The VHS Never Forget t-shirt. All right. I think I've got all my housekeeping out of the way. I want to talk about tonight's guest. So tonight's guest, I was a little bit hesitant to ask him to join me tonight, but he was more than willing to do so. And as such, let me give him just a little bit of an introduction. You guys know this feller well. He's an active member of our community, and he's also active in many other things. He is the board president for the community or Center for Independent Living in Florida. You can see him up there in the upper left-hand corner. Yep, President John Collins. And here's another picture of the entire group there. And I believe, I'm going to bring John on, but I believe that's John in the bottom right corner, second over on the bottom right corner of this picture. So let me, without any further delay, bring John Collins on to the live stream tonight. Mr. Collins, how the heck are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good, Dave. And again, thank you for having me. And I just, you said the community. I just love everybody in the community. And thank you. And glad we can have this conversation.
Well, I'm glad we can too. I love the shirt you're sporting tonight, the Pure West shirt. That's a beauty.
Any way I can promote, I love it. So, and like I said, a lot of your wearers, a lot of your t-shirts are in my closet, so I have a lot to choose from.
Well, I appreciate your support in so many ways. Thank you for being an executive producer tonight. Thank you for your support. Like I said, appreciate having you, and I appreciate the conversations that we have offline, you and I, through Twitter.
And I just want to say thank you for those as well. I mean, you could just tell me you're busy talking to other people, and you still find ways to talk to everybody. So I appreciate it, and thank you.
Well, you're very welcome, John. So this all started when you mentioned to me, this was probably, I don't know, 2-3 weeks ago, that there's work being done at the Center for Independent Living in Florida right now in terms of I think it's the annual fundraising time. And while we're not specifically focusing on that tonight, there is a link if folks want more information about the Center for Independent Living in Florida, there's a link in the description of this video. And I wanted to, you were telling me that you were going to be on TV. And I told you got to send me that clip.
Yeah. And I did.
And you did. And I have it. So is there anything you want? I'm going to tee it up, but is there anything you want to say ahead of time to kind of help folks understand what we're going to see here?
Well, what happened is I was able to introduce my foster mother who lives in the area, one county over to what the center does. And she has some hearing deficits. So one of the people there was able to help her with some amplifying equipment for her phone and other things. So and it turned out well. It was a good promotional for the center as well. But I'm just in a little small clip, but I'm the reason it happened. So
Well, you may be only a small part of the clip, but you were the highlight for me, my friend. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and tee it up, and then we'll talk a little more afterwards.
Right.
I have cerebral palsy, so I've had cerebral palsy since birth. I've been walking on crutches ever since I was 3.
And if you need my help later...
Danny Broxson brings a wealth of first-hand knowledge to his role as Independent Living Skills Coordinator at the Center for Independent Living. Board President John Collins says he was a natural fit for their team.
That's what makes him and CIL so impactful, is that we all have similar challenges in life. He has a very consoling spirit about him, very very disarming.
Danny has that ability to get people to talk openly about their desires and their needs. He goes to whatever lengths are needed to help people live the fullest lives they can. It may be teaching someone to walk or drive,
And you have to find out what works for you.
providing adaptive equipment or wheelchairs, or job training for high school seniors.
I want them to be better off after they leave than when they came here.
When the door opened for him here 15 years ago, Danny saw this as his opportunity to be a peer mentor to clients facing the same challenges he's had. He doesn't shy away from what he has faced. Rather, he gladly shares his struggles and successes. CIL Executive Director Carolyn Grawey says seeing his outcomes is heartwarming.
When that person learns a skill for a job and they go on an interview and they get the job, I mean, all those pieces, whatever it is, it just brings joy. It brings joy to my heart as the executive director. It brings joy to his teammates' hearts to see we're making a difference.
You want to make people feel important. You want to make them feel valued. And if I've done that, then I feel pretty good about the rest of it.
Okay, so John, I've got a couple comments I've got to share with you. I was watching the chat. I don't know if you've been, but superfan Tracy Rothmeyer says, "You are a rock star."
Well, I try to be.
Superfan Buddy Mills says, "Hey" to you. And then Tracy says, "Hey, since you're in Florida, John, she's going to vote for you."
Okay, good. Well, here's the thing, though. The one thing I want to make sure that I was clear on when we talked about this is there are centers all over the country. So it's not just me or mine. It's and it really is an important thing because we want people to be as independent as possible. Whenever they choose that level to be, everything, all the services that are provided to the people or avenues, as I like to say, it's totally free to the person we partner with. So, I mean, if you have needs in your area, just find the local one that does the same thing. They don't always have the same name because we're only loosely affiliated with all of them, but they have the same philosophy.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the thing that, from what I understand, and like you said, is that the goal, what they're trying to accomplish is the same across the nation. They're all really, that primary goal of helping people achieve more independence and a better life that's the common denominator we see across all of these centers. Is that correct?
Right. And the other awesome thing is they're ran by highly professional people with challenges. So 51% of their boards and staff have to be staffed with people with disabilities. So I don't have to have a professional mindset to be able to help in the way that I'm able to. So a lot of times there's attitudinal barriers. When somebody with a disability somebody with a challenge comes to a service place and they have to jump through emotional hoops or explain this how they want to do it. And at centers they don't have to do that because they already have that connection with someone there has a similar issue in life. So it really helps it run more smoothly.
Yeah, I love the clip because what it really demonstrated is we saw in that clip, there you were we're again talking about the CIL in Florida, but there you were as board president, but you also had and I'm not sure what Danny's actual title is, but clearly he's doing good work.
He is a peer mentor. So what happens in that regard is that people come in and they have questions and he helps them get registered with our group, and he kind of helps them with whatever they may need or whatever they may whether we don't literally teach people to walk, so that was the wrong but I mean equipment or services like you saw in the video. So and the lady you saw who was the director, she's legally blind, so we run the gamut of disabilities.
That's awesome. Well, John, I've got some more comments I want to share, and then because we are a live stream that focuses on entertainment, we better get into the entertainment portion of this.
We will.
Folks, here's what I'm going to say. I put the link for the CIL in Florida. Check it out. I mean, I know I do donations every year. I find charitable endeavors that are important to me.
Yes.
But if you have the ability to, look at these guys as potentially a charitable, something that's worthwhile in terms of your charitable donations, I'd encourage.
And let me just encourage one thing. We're just one center in Florida. We serve 4 counties in Florida. There are 67 counties in Florida. So and so there are 15 centers like mine in Florida alone, but they're all over the nation. So they're a worthwhile brand to support.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks for bringing it to my attention, John. A couple more comments here. Thrash Pondo says, John in the house. Superfan Dominic D says, hey. Ian over there on Retro Serial says, hey, John.
Hey, Ian, I'm glad you made it.
Yep. Kevin Davis said hello. Edward Hanna says, congratulations to you. Superplex, Superfan Superplex says, bravo. And Danny Staten says, impressive stuff with a myriad of emojis afterwards. And Thrash Pondo says, you rock.
Well, I appreciate all that, but it just means I go to all the meetings. That's all it means, really. But yeah, I mean, and the interesting thing is, we don't get political. We're nonpartisan. Disability can happen to everyone, and I know it's touched your family a lot, somewhat, Dave. So I appreciate your willingness to help.
Absolutely. Yeah, there was a time where we really thought we were, through the miracle of science, we haven't had some, my youngest son has really been able to live a fairly normal life. And, he's just a wonderful feller. I love him to death, but he's definitely had his challenges when he was very, very young as an infant.
And you've always talked lovingly about your sisters and your mom and
yes.
So
absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
for sure. That's the thing, is that this stuff, life has its challenges for all of us.
Right.
Right.
But let's go ahead and get on to the entertainment. That's what people are here for. So,
yes.
Yeah. So,
well, here's the thing. I gotta cover this. The rules. When I get a super chat, I've got to make sure I say thank you. This was from Superfan Dave Claroni. Thank you so much, good sir. And I always find a video. I'm gonna do Archie Bunker this time for that one. It feels like an Archie dance time.
Right.
All right, so thanks, Dave. Appreciate that so much. Let me play a little clip, just a little clip from Mask, and then we'll talk a little bit about the movie, since you mentioned this is one of your favorites, John.
Yep.
Next on Universal Pictures' debut network, the incredible story of a boy who could never be like anyone else, so he was determined to be better.
I'll take my mask off if you take your mask off.
Mask, the true story of Rocky Dennis.
You've always been real big on telling me that my face doesn't matter, but it does, doesn't it?
One of those rare movies with hope and heart. CBS Morning News. Cher is astounding. People Magazine. Superb. Gene Siskel.
I wish we could run away and be together all the time.
Eric Stoltz, Sam Elliott, and Cher.
I look weird, but otherwise I'm real normal.
For the first time on television, Mask. A debut network special presentation coming up next.
All right, so I'm going to let you go ahead and kick this off. What do you love about Mask? What is it about this movie?
It's just gorgeously painful. It really, it really is painful. But it reminds me of my mom a lot. My mom, had the dark black hair and had the sort of, in this picture, had the mom character kind of lifestyle. So, without the biker gang,
Right.
everything but the biker gang, So, and obviously the underdog coming of age story, the disability is there, but and I got to give my props to Eric Stoltz. And he'll never see this probably, but everybody, he's kind of the butt of the joke about Back to the Future, and he didn't make it in, but he really, I don't know if you've seen the movie, but he really does a really good job in the movie. Yeah.
Yes, I have seen the movie. I saw it when it came out years and years ago, and I meant to watch it again before we did this live stream, and I haven't, so I'm going off memory, but I was really impressed with this movie as well.
Right.
I know that Cher says that this is her favorite role, and which is interesting because she did not get along with Peter Bogdanovich while they were making this movie. They were at each other the entire time, but the finished product and what she got out of this, and it's interesting you say that there's you see your mom in the character of what's her name? It's Rusty and
Rocky.
That's Rocky. Rusty's the mom. Rocky's the Eric Stoltz character.
Yes, yeah.
And so you see elements of your mom in. I think a lot of us saw elements of our mom in that character, right? Because this was a woman who would fight for her kids.
Yeah, but I don't think your mom did any drugs, so therefore.
No. You're right, and nor was she in a biker gang, right?
but yeah.
But the desire for your children to have as normal of a life as possible, and to of those kind of things, and to be a fighter for your child,
right.
That's and it's in this, the portrayal of Rusty in Mask. If I remember correctly, she is by no means, forget the biker gang. You're right. You bring up the drugs. She's not a perfect woman. She has her own problems and her own challenges that she has to deal with in the movie.
And that's why I like the movie so much, because it's not this, I'll get into philosophy a little bit. It's not this hero worship, oh, look at them, they're just living their life, it's not about, look at the sweet guy with a disability, he was a regular guy, he was just ups and downs and trying to find himself at 16 or whatever, or, whatever. So, and of course, he did not make it. The real person died soon after that, in the movie. It was pretty close. It actually happened more in the 70s, but came out in the 80s. The movie did, but, but it was pretty true to life.
Yeah. And you're right. It was, these characters in the movie felt real. I think Bogdanovich did a great job of getting the performances out of the actors.
Yeah, and Cher, I don't know if you remember the end, but when it happens, it's her portrayal is powerful. I mean, just knowing that he had died, but not wanting to know it. The sense of, I know what's happening, but I'm gonna, wish that he'll wake up. That kind of thing. It didn't seem sappy at all. It seemed like what a real mom would want to happen.
Absolutely.
So.
There was I've heard this story too. They did a lot of filming in the actual neighborhood where the Dennis family resided.
Right.
And there was a moment where Cher and Eric Stoltz, in character, in makeup, were out on the street, and a neighbor saw them and literally thought that wasn't aware that Rocky had passed away, and said, "Hey, it's so good to see you again." That's the level of, fantastic makeup and just everything they did to bring this story to life.
And you know what? The good thing about the mother in real life is she never shied away from, when she did interviews, she would admit about the drug use and the challenge. So it wasn't like they tried to hide anything. And she had mentioned in one of the interviews that I saw that she was very pleased with Cher's performance, and she was. The only thing she didn't like is the Bob Seger music. She she wanted
Bruce Springsteen.
She wanted Bruce. Yeah, I'm like, but the movie's perfect. Why are you worried about the music? You know, I mean,
it's because Rocky loved Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah.
And that was the idea was, and I think they did a director's cut or something later on where they put the Springsteen music back in,
which she liked a lot. I remember that she liked, you know, that they did that.
Yeah. All right, so let's do this. I've got another little clip. And then we'll come back and just talk a little bit more about the movie. Hey, folks, I want to let everybody hold tight because we've got a lot to do tonight. We're going to give away another copy of Retrofan magazine. It will be the May 2022 issue. I'm going to ask John to share his favorite things, much like I've done my other guests in the past. We'll do some Q&A if you guys are up for that, and we'll play a little bit of 80s trivia. So we've got a lot going on still to do tonight to get in over the course of the next half hour or so. So let me go ahead and play this video, and then John and I will be right back. Hold tight, John.
All right.
I think it's fair to say that Cher will be remembered as one of the great recording artists of the second half of the 20th century, and here's why. She is the only artist to date to have a #1 single on a Billboard chart in 6 consecutive decades, from the 60s on into the 2010s. Beyond her musical accolades, Cher is also an accomplished actress. You may find it interesting to know that Cher considers her performance as Rusty Dennis in the 1985 film Mask to be her finest work on screen. Inspired by that role, Cher has taken on additional responsibilities beyond the world of entertainment, and in the past, she has acted as national chairperson and honorary spokesperson for the National Children's Craniofacial Association. Anyone remember this tender reunion on Late Night with David Letterman? I sure do. I thought it was a really great television moment, and thanks to YouTube, I can now relive that magic moment whenever I want to. God bless the internet. All right, John. Hey, a couple more comments.
What I remember from that video is they felt very awkward in that reunion because neither one of them knew it was going to happen. So I remember that. Yeah.
That was sprung on them, but they handled it with grace. And I saw that live. I mean, I've watched it numerous times on YouTube, but I remember that evening very well when it happened. And
it definitely got sprung on them. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank Kevin, or that David Letterman. Sometimes he can be a bit of a troublemaker. Hey, comment from Laura Strobel I wanted to read. She says, "Thanks for being here, John. I've heard of CIL from a friend of mine who was born with spina bifida and in a wheelchair. This was back in the 90s." So I think there's real goodness in talking about this tonight. Super fan Kevin Davis dropped in a super sticker, and I want him to know how much I appreciate him for that. Let's pull out a little Shatner.
No, I thank you. And again, I thank you.
And again, I thank you, Kevin Davis. Thanks for that, good sir. And Laura points out that tomorrow's Cher's birthday. I didn't even realize that. But what a better way to celebrate her birthday than to talk about one of her best roles ever, Mask. Oh, don't know what that is, but
that was my phone. Sorry.
Oh, okay. All right. Is it something you have to get?
No, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Good.
Yeah.
Well, any thoughts? Final thoughts about this movie, or for that matter, any other big roles, TV movies that really stick out as really influential and pivotal in the world of entertainment, John?
Well, I mean, as far as disabilities, I did want to mention one. A recent one, Crip Camp. I don't know if you've heard of Crip Camp, but it's the story of how CILs can be, because in the late 60s, these group of disabled people went to this camp with hippies as a counselor, and they just learned to be independent and dignified in the way they could. And a lot of these same individuals went to Washington when disabled people didn't have the freedoms they do now as far as the Americans with Disability Act, and they changed a lot in the for people with disabilities, and so it really tells a good story. I don't know if you've heard of that, but I mentioned it before. But it's a documentary on. There you go. You are so prepared for everything. But that's it. But
Yeah, so it's on Netflix, folks, and John's mentioned this to me, and I've put it on my list of things to watch. I haven't watched this, so I'm going to make a goal to watch this. I think it sounds fascinating, and I'd encourage folks to watch it.
Now, one thing I will say, it's not G-rated. You know, they were hippies, and it was back in the '60s, so there's some language and some, but it's real life, So.
That's right. And I think, you and I have talked about this in the past, language and movies, and I don't have a problem with it when I hear it in a documentary like that.
Right.
When I have a problem with it, it's more when it just feels like it's unnecessary, and but that absolutely not in this kind of setting. So I'm excited to watch it. So John, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some retro commercials. I have to take care of the sponsors. You know how that is.
Yes.
We got to take care of the sponsors. We're gonna do some retro commercials. We're gonna come back and we're gonna give away that copy of Retrofan magazine, and then we'll go ahead and jump into favorite things. So you had those questions, right? You're ready to answer them?
Oh, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, cannot wait. All right, so we'll do the commercials and we'll be right back, folks. Let me find the commercials. Here we go.
Wednesday, all rise.
Let's party!
It's the premiere of Night Court,
At most, I was expecting charades.
where justice is always a toss-up.
One more flip. Heads, we thunder up the river. Tails, we take on.
And law and order stands for craziness in the courtroom.
Voila.
Night Court, Wednesday.
Have a seat.
A day in the life of a Commodore 64. The Commodore 64. Once you get it, you'll wonder how you got along without it.
All right, we are back. And as promised, it's time to give away an issue of Retrofan magazine. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of the copy that we're giving away. It's the same one we've given away the past few drawings. This is the May 2022 issue of Retrofan. Sergio Aragonés is on the cover. B.J. Thomas, his final interview that he gave to anyone is in this magazine. There's some Three Stooges fun. There's all sorts of good stuff, including a history of the Lone Ranger and animation. This is a great, great magazine, and a really, in particular, a special issue. And the folks at Retrofan have told me that they will send it directly to your house as long as you're located somewhere in the United States of America. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. Let me go ahead and share a screen. Got to find the right screen. Here we go. Most folks know the drill here. We need to go ahead and pull that up on the screen so everybody can see. Let's get rid of that. There we go. I need to see in the chat, #Retrofan. #Retrofan. So far, we have no entries. So get your entry in there so that we can, if there's only one in there, then you're going to win. But, there's two. So odds are not completely 100% in favor. But I'm going to put a timer on this. Let's go ahead and put. What do you think, John? A minute? Should we allow folks a minute to get their entry in there?
I'm not seeing the chat. So how many people are in the chat?
We have 42 people.
Oh yeah, give them a minute.
Watching.
Yeah. They need.
We're counting down. We're
okay.
We'll give them a few, a few more seconds to get it in. We've got 13, 16. What's your? Do you read magazines, John?
I'm my fine motor is not the best. I mean, so so I I do a lot of Audible. I do a lot of TV. My tummy would say that I don't do enough exercise at all, but which is true. But challenges are challenges for a reason.
Right. Yeah, so, Audible's great though, isn't it? Though we really love Audible.
It is, but you have to be careful because it's so addicting. It's so easy to buy books. It's just
Do you have a favorite podcast by chance?
Well, I do a lot of I like Danny Staten. I do Lance Chafin. I watch a lot of wrestling podcasts and stuff like that. But I'm mostly on your channel, really. That's where I am mostly. Yeah. You and Ian. Yeah, Ian. Ian is a great guy, and I'm always prayers for his family and everything. And I just,
he really is a great fella. I love Ian Carlin. Here's a podcast that I would recommend wholeheartedly. Let me see if I can find the image real quick here. Oh, maybe I can't find it.
What is that one?
It's The Real Brady Burrows. Have you guys heard of this one?
I've heard of that because Pat talked about it a lot.
Yeah. I thought I had an image, but I can't find it, so we'll go ahead and. It's Christopher Knight and Barry Williams. They're great.
The minute has been gone for a while now. So.
Yeah, it has. They're probably ready. Folks are probably ready to see who the winner is. So let's go ahead and do this. Let me go ahead and hit the draw button and cross your fingers, folks. I always get so excited to see who the winner is. This is one of my favorite parts of the evening. Buddy Mills, super fan. Buddy Mills is our winner tonight. The May 2022 issue of Retrofan magazine. Buddy, here's the deal. You probably already know this, but let me go ahead and put this up on the screen so that you can see what I need you to do. I need you to send me your mailing instructions, your address, a name, full name. If that, I imagine it's Buddy Mills, but if it's something else, that plus your physical address so that we can have that sent to you. And congratulations tonight, Buddy. That's awesome. Always happy to see it go to, whoever wins it, I'm excited, but this Buddy's such an engaged member of the community as well. It's awesome that he's the winner tonight. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. All right. Let's see. Oh, so Brenda Bunch is asking about the backdrop. Let me do this. Let's go ahead and quit sharing the screen. This is from, I'm going to take you off, John. I'm going to take me off too. They'll be able to hear us. They'll be able to hear us still, I think.
All right.
No, they're not able to hear us, so I'm back. But that's from the movie Mask. It's part of the poster, and we've just used it as a backdrop tonight. It's very beautiful. That, I believe, is a sunset. Is that correct, John?
You probably done more research for the movie right now, but I do believe that's the poster that the movie used. I believe, yeah.
Yes. All right.
And I like how it's intriguing because everything is in shadow. It makes you want to see what it's all about. So I really like what they did there.
Superfan says it's a California sunset.
Mm-hmm.
John, remind me? This is how old I'm getting. Did we already acknowledge Superfan Kevin Davis's super chat?
We did.
I know we did.
I think we did.
I know we did Dave Claroni's, but you're right. I think we did. If we didn't, Kevin, thank you so much, buddy. Truly appreciate it.
Yeah.
I think we did, though.
Yeah, we did, I think.
Oh, man, getting old is the worst. Memory, I tell you, it just starts to go. Folks, just be patient with me. Be patient with me. Buddy Mills, though, I saw in the chat, he's time delayed. He started late, so he knows he won, but he also is he's kind of watching the chat while the audio and video is minutes beforehand. So
okay, wow.
But congratulations, buddy. When you get to this part of the video, we're all very excited. Good job.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we got left. Let's see. Let's do favorite things, and then we'll do Q&A, and then we'll do some trivia, because we got to do trivia too.
Right.
So let me pull up. This is the part of the video or the live stream I like to call a few of my favorite things. In this case, there are a few of John Collins' favorite things. First question for you. Rapid fire, John. We're going to go fast. What's your favorite nostalgic television show and why?
Oh, definitely Night Court. Definitely. I mean, it just, and I have a theory, the reason some shows work is because you're in the world. And so when you're not you're in that world that they've created. So when the illusion is over, that's when they don't work anymore.
Yeah.
And Night Court did really well at the building you right in made you feel like you were right there in it, but yeah, that one definitely.
Awesome. Great show. And this isn't part of the questions, but I'm going to ask you it anyway. And you've probably already told me in the chat and I've just forgotten. But what are you excited for the reboot or not?
No. I think too many people have died that they need to respect the people and
is it just Marquette? Is that or is Bull going to be in it as well?
Well,
Richard,
you're the expert. But I think it's definitely Marquette because he's going to direct it or produce it or something.
He's one of the main characters. I think the Bull. I'm trying to. Richard, what's his last name? I can't remember. Richard Mole. The guy that plays Bull Shannon, maybe he'll show up, but I haven't heard of him being a recurring character.
Yeah, I don't think he wanted a lot to do with it actually because he didn't want to shave his hair again. I guess but and he's 80 years old or something. I mean,
he's getting older. He's getting up there. All right, favorite actor or actress from a retro TV show?
I got to cheat a little bit here because I love both of these people, but I didn't watch their shows when they were on them. But I love Denzel Washington. Of course, he was on St. Elsewhere. That was a little bit before, I was young. And also Tom Hanks and Bosom Buddies. Tom Hanks is just amazing,
And you mentioned Bosom Buddies. I loved Tom Hanks with Peter Scolari in that show. That was must-see viewing for me in the Sundstrom home. Both myself and Steve, we loved that show.
So and they did, and another disability movie that I love is Philadelphia. I mean, it's Philadelphia.
Which reminds me, I meant to mention this when we were talking about Rusty Dennis and her life. What? She had another son, and that son passed away from AIDS just a few years after Rocky passed away.
He did. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah. She sold the rights to Rocky's story to help pay for the medical bills for her other son.
Oh wow, I didn't. It's funny he wasn't in the movie. There was nobody. Nope. I knew she had a son, but he wasn't in the portrayal. So
Philadelphia is a great film. I really enjoyed that movie as well.
Yeah, it really is good.
A tour de force in terms of a performance by Tom Hanks.
And in a lot of role, but Jason Robards. I mean, I mean, how can you go wrong with Jason Robards?
No, you cannot.
But
All right. Was there a particular TV program that you remember as a youngster or young man that brought people together, that brought the family together?
I really relate to you in this regard. I grew up when PBS was a thing. It mattered, and I was always wanting my foster mother's approval. She just died. She was 93. I don't know if I think I told you, but she died a couple months ago. she was 93 when I lived in Chicago. And I wanted to understand what she loved, and she loved, Louis Rukeyser, Wall Street Week, and and then what was the other one? The
Neil Lehrer?
No, the one John McLaughlin, the McLaughlin Group.
McLaughlin Group, yes.
She loved that stuff, and when I knew I could, hold a conversation with her, I knew I was in there, And then, as far as moments, it was definitely, the most vivid, because I know the questions. The most vivid moment was the Berlin Wall coming down, and challenge and Challenger. I mean, those were the most vivid,
Yeah, so for folks that John's anticipating my next question already, which is most vivid moment on TV, and Berlin Wall is probably one of mine as well. Challenger,
Right.
I didn't get to see until later on, a couple days after it happened, and then I saw clips. But boy, that when the Berlin Wall came down, I just felt such joy. So they're kind of like on the different ends of the spectrum, right? Challenger blowing up's terrible, and the Berlin Wall was a great thing.
I remember asking her when the Berlin Wall came. I could still vision it. The one of those old kitchens and TVs, black and white TV with the I can still envision asking her, is the world at peace now? And what she told me was, it's a good start. We're never all the way there, but it's a good start. So
yep.
And we're not there now. We're not.
Right. We took a step or two back recently, but
Yep.
Gonna bite my tongue because I don't want to get into politics, but I think we can all agree that the world is less safe place than it was a few months back.
Yes.
So when you're not watching nostalgic TV or hanging out on a live stream, what do you like to do, John?
Well, I'm very committed to what I do as far as with the center, and I'm always trying to find ways to get more awareness. And but what I love Chicago sports. I'm originally from Chicago, so I love trying to keep up with the teams and that kind of thing. But I do a lot of I just joined a gym today, so I'm mostly going for the vibrating massage table, but
sure,
you got to start somewhere.
Absolutely, that's the right place to start for sure.
Yeah.
So, are you a baseball fan, basketball fan, or all sports?
Oh, I'm a huge Bears fan. In fact, fun fact, or not so fun, the Challenger explosion stopped the Bears from going to the White House that year. Because when you win the Super Bowl, you get to go to the White House.
That was the year that McMahon was QB for the Bears, if I remember right.
That's right.
Yeah.
And but the Challenger happened right around when they were supposed to go and do that, so they had to wait 20 years later or something.
It took them a while.
Well, Obama was in office, Chicago guy, so that's what happened. But
yeah, and that I remember the old the Super Bowl shuffle with the Bears. That was awesome.
Right.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, so thanks for answering those questions.
Yeah.
Really, it's a treat having you with us, John. You can stay on, you can drop whenever, but we're gonna roll into actually stay on because I want to make sure we address any questions that folks might have. I'm gonna read a few comments. Tracy Rothmeyer, super fan Tracy Rothmeyer's dropped a sticker. I definitely have to acknowledge that and tell her how much I appreciate her for that super sticker. And I think we're going to throw Dukes of Hazzard and then Steve Martin her way.
And now, it's time for a little dance, and here we go.
Thank you, Tracy. You're too kind. Hey, folks, if you have questions for John, now's the time to put them in the chat box. We'll try to catch them real quick. A couple of comments that caught my attention earlier on. Adrian James said, "If I Could Turn Back Time" is one of my favorite songs of Cher. Mine as well.
Yeah.
Great song. As a young, I think I was in my early 20s when that came out. I could appreciate the video as well. And superfan Emily Miller says Cher and Madonna are both great entertainers. Totally agree with that. Both of them, are strong, powerful women and role models. I really believe. And, they're not perfect. Neither of them are perfect. They've made mistakes, but they're great role models.
It's funny because Cher would rather be known as an actor than a singer.
For sure, than a singer.
Yeah.
And yet her influence, as that video pointed out earlier, to have something chart in the top 20 or whatever for 6 straight decades, that's incredible.
Incredible.
Yeah. All right, let me take a peek here and let's see if we got some questions for you real quick here, John.
I would love that.
Let's see.
Dave, I'm never at a loss for words, so if they have questions, I'm good.
Watchy Bear saying, hey, leave the politics out of it. Let's leave
I'm sorry.
It wasn't your fault, John. I was the one.
Okay. All right.
Let's see. Emily Miller, I don't even know what this is. She says she loves apocalyptic movies. I enjoy a good apocalyptic movie as well. Especially the Road Warrior movies, and I love Soylent Green and the Planet of the Apes movies. Yeah.
I want to say one more thing about disability movies, if I could, though. I'm glad that they're getting more awareness, and Coda just won the Academy Award. That's the movie about.
Loved Coda, Children of Deaf World. Yes.
Yeah. And it had Molly Matlin, which who can go wrong with Molly Matlin? I mean,
No,
she doesn't age at all, and she's from my hometown, so that's awesome.
So did you see Coda? Have you seen that one yet, John?
I have it. When you work around disability movements, you have to see all the stuff.
Yes.
So I've seen it, and again, I like it because they were just disabled. It wasn't the story; it was just part of the story. That's what I like about it. It wasn't crammed down your throat. It was just, they were just people. You know what I mean?
Just people. Yeah. But really lovable people. You got to admit that family.
Oh yes,
family.
Yeah, and they were realistic people.
For sure. Superfan Kevin Davis says that he's a Bears fan as well. So there you go.
Hey, we got to try to be anyway,
Blatchy Bear says, love the Super Bowl Shuffle. I don't remember the name of the motorcycle club in Mass. Do you remember, John?
No, I'm not that obsessed.
I need to watch the movie again for me to remember that. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, Superfan Zuberplex says that the 85 Bears were very cocky. Well, yeah, McMahon and those guys were.
But when you're that good, right?
Yeah. Emily Miller's going to a Panthers game soon. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laura. Positive vibrations your way. Let's see. Oh, Marco Falzoni says Prince and U2 got them through 1987. Awesome.
We all made through 87. Yes.
Yeah. Hey, here's a question for you, John. Your birth mom, is she still alive or did she pass away as well?
No, she died at 48 from just living life hard and we all do the best we can with what we know,
Yeah.
And I was raised in a lot of foster homes and all that kind of thing, but she had cancer and other things, but no, so she's not living anymore now.
What do you think? Now go from that heavy question to this question. What do you think the Bears season is going to be like next year?
Oh, we only have one good quarterback, so I don't know. We've gone young, so when you go young, you don't know much about the players, because when you've had the same team for a while, you know the players, But we've cut all the old timers now, so we just so I don't know. Probably not very good.
Let me see if I have here. Oh, here's an interesting comment. Superfan Buddy Mills, our winner of Retrofan magazine tonight, says, John, I have CP2 and was wondering what your advice would be to younger people with disabilities who might be struggling for acceptance or with their disability in general.
See, now this is why I did the live stream.
Yeah.
This is the reason. You know, life, you know, it gets better. You know what I mean? I never thought that I would own a house or be married and have the struggles of marriage and all that. But I'm married and I own a house and you know, and I would say don't rush the youth, you know, enjoy life for what it is, you know, but don't allow people to tell you how to live your life. Just live your life the way you see fit, and it all works out in the end, and nobody makes it out alive anyway, so you might as well enjoy every moment you can, you know. And also embrace questions. You know, a lot of times parents are so afraid of people asking people with disabilities questions, so I want them to ask questions, you know, when they're kids, you know. It helps.
Yeah. I think that's, you know, if there's, I've discovered this from you, John, and as we've just visited through the various social media mechanisms that we have available to us, but, you know, you mentioned don't be afraid to ask questions. I think that's a really important thing. Open channels of communication are super critical for all of us, regardless of what challenges we're trying to work through, because we all, as we've kind of hammered home tonight, all night, as we've talked about mask and other things, we all have our challenges. Some of them are more obvious, and let's not try to minimize. Some of them are more challenging than others, but we all have things we face.
And one other thing I would say is don't set up special circumstances. You know, let people live as they would. You know, people learn best from people. People learn best from people they don't know, not people they do know. You know, just because one person has a disability doesn't mean their best friend has to have the same thing. You know,
absolutely.
You learn better from people you grow more from people you don't know.
For sure.
You know, so.
For sure.
And also everybody don't be fooled. Dave is Yoda, okay? Dave is a very intelligent man. I'm just giving you all the props, Dave. You're very wise yourself. So
thank you so much.
We're all better for it.
Thank you so much. Well, I am better for having had this community find me through YouTube. So I'm grateful to all of you. Here's another question for you, John.
Mm-hmm.
When is the last time you enjoyed a real Chicago hot dog?
Probably in November. I don't ever plan to go out there as much as I do, but I end up going about once a year. So probably last November, I had a pizza. I didn't have a hot dog, but I had a pizza, and it's wonderful. You know, it's just, Dave, have you ever been to Chicago? It's wonderful.
I have not been there. No.
And of course, as I believe Tracy is from Chicago. When I say Chicago, I don't mean the city. I mean the area around it. Of course, I never lived in the city itself, but I lived from the area.
All right. Yeah. Well, let's do this. We are. This has just been fascinating. Great questions. I'm really impressed with the community and the questions they've asked this evening.
Even the hot dog question.
Yeah, especially the hot dog question. Let's roll right into some trivia and see how folks do. I've only got 5 questions tonight. I kind of anticipated that the other things were going to run long, so I've only got 5 questions. But let's see how everybody does.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go ahead and scroll through. I'm making sure we don't have any.
You mean that you knew I would talk a lot. I understand.
I knew this was going to be a meaty conversation is what I know.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. 80s trivia.
Yep.
Let's see how folks do. Question number 1. Which talk show which talk show host was fired by Fox in 1987?
Yeah, it was hard too. Yeah, I know.
Answer
this
it,
one.
John. Don't answer it.
I
Remember,
know. I know.
We're gonna let folks kind of think through. They can put their answer in
Right.
the chat, or they can just kind of lock it in their noggin. We're gonna give folks about 30 seconds. Let me put a timer up here. Your choices are Chevy Chase, Conan O'Brien, Jay Leno, or Joan Rivers. Let me see what I can do here. Let's find a little timer. We'll give folks 30 seconds, and then we'll move to the answer.
I'm rethinking.
Do you think you know it?
I'm rethinking my thought now because I know one of those had a very bad show. So I'll
let you answer it or give it your best shot when we get to the end of the timer here.
Okay.
Let's see. You're usually pretty darn reliable with a lot of this stuff too. So let's see how it goes. All right, John. What do you think it is?
I think that it was. They spent a lot of money on Chevy Chase and it didn't go well.
Okay.
Was it Chevy?
It was Joan.
I knew it was
Chevy. Was Chevy on Fox or was he on CBS? I just can't remember.
He was on Fox. They named a studio for him and everything.
Oh my goodness.
But yeah, I know. Because then Arsenio took over for Joan. I remember that.
Yep. All righty. Next question. Question number 2. And then we'll see how folks are doing. Here we go. Our first, I have 2 mask questions in here.
Okay.
The 1985 movie Mask, starring Eric Stoltz and Cher, won an Oscar in what category? Was it Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Makeup, or Best Picture?
I know.
Again, I'll put the timer on here. We'll give folks 30 seconds. I'm going to take a peek and see how things are doing. Oh, let's see. Blotchy Bear says that Cher was on the first episode of the Joan Rivers show. That's interesting.
Yeah, she was with Elton John.
Oh, that's right. It was quite star-studded, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was quite a. It was when Elton was married to a woman.
There you go. Yep. All right. Do you want to give it a shot, John?
It was Best Makeup. I'm almost sure.
You are correct. All right. Yeah. Let's take a peek at scores and see how folks are doing here. Your scores in. Got a bit of a delay here. StreamYard sometimes I'm betting there's already scores in the YouTube chat, but StreamYard has a bit of a delay. So let's see. Superfan Emily Miller says, I can't remember what I did yesterday, and you all are remembering 35 years ago. Kenneth Wilkinson's one of 2. Let's see. Nick Mamonis is one of 2. Rich Atwood, one of 2. Otacop 67, one of 2. Superfan Emily Miller is 2 of 2. Thrash Pondo's one of 2. Superfan Buddy Mills is 2 of 2. Daryl Johnston, one of 2. And I got to say thanks to Daryl. He's always reminding folks to hit that thumbs up button. So thanks, Daryl. Thanks for doing that. I've seen Danny do that as well. Appreciate it when you remind folks because you know what? It's an important thing.
I actually have a quick story. A quick story.
Sure.
I know that Ian loves Family Ties, and one of the lines in Family Ties is, Michael's character Alex is telling Andy, everybody's going to ask you what you did this summer, and the answer is I watched the Iran-Contra hearings, and I actually did that. I was one of those ones that watched them.
I watched them as well. As well. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So I just put the rest of them on the screen, and we're going to keep moving. Question number 3. What was the name of the inn that Dick and Joanna owned in Newhart? Was it the Concord Inn, the Lakeside Lodge, the Stratford Inn, or the Town and Country? Let me put a timer on. We'll give folks 30 seconds to put their answer in the chat.
Mm-hmm. I know this one.
Emily promises that she'll thumbs up before she leaves, which is good. Danny Staten says he's too confused for trivia. It's a rum night. And Emily says, have one for me, Danny. Love it, love it, love it. Let's see. William Kirchmeier gives us a nugget of wisdom that one might find in a fortune cookie. Information is the only true wealth. Good stuff.
Yeah,
for sure. All right, so let me go ahead and get back over to where we were. Take that comment off. Correct answer. What do you think it is, John?
It's Stratford Inn.
Correct. All right, you're 2 for 3. Let's keep moving. Question 4. Is this another Mask question? It sure is. This is a tough one, though. In the movie Mask, which Brat Pack actor was originally slated for the lead role of Rocky Dennis? Was it Andrew McCarthy, Charlie Sheen, Emilio Estevez, or Rob Lowe?
I know.
You know it. Awesome. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Let me get the timer on.
Oh, I think I know.
Okay. All right. All of these guys were, you know what? I love those late 80s movies that particularly, I have to say, I really like the Andrew McCarthy movies. They were kind of lightweight and, like Mannequin and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But Class was another one that he was in with Rob Lowe. I think were they all in St. Elmo's Fire? I think they all were.
Mannequin was so good.
Yes, it was.
Meshach Taylor. You can't go wrong with me. Yeah.
So funny. And the guy that played the security guard in that, he was in MASH too. I can't remember his name right now, but he was great too.
I'm going to say, are you ready?
Yes. Give me the answer, John.
Rob Lowe?
You are correct. You are rocking tonight. Rocking. We're going to go one more. We're going to go ahead and finish this up and then get everybody's scores. Last question. Who sang the theme song? I do say that, every once in a while I talk about music. And here's a music question. Who sang the theme song? It does have movies, though, too, here. For the 1985 James Bond flick, A View to a Kill. So was it A Flock of Seagulls, Culture Club, Duran Duran, or Tears for Fears? Put the timer in. Everybody's on the clock. A Flock of Seagulls, Culture Club, Duran Duran, or Tears for Fears. I'm not asking you for the answer right now, but John, do you have, of those 4 bands, were any of those ones you listened to?
Culture Club.
Culture Club, Boy George, Culture Club.
Yeah. Remember, guys are visual, and Culture Club is very visual.
Yes, they were. Yes, for sure.
Boy
George was quite the character.
Yeah. You ready? I think it's.
I'm ready.
Duran Duran.
You are correct. You rocked it tonight. 4 out of 5. That's impressive. Let's see how everybody else did. All right. I'm waiting for scores here. Thrash Pondo Pons, last week's guest on the live stream, was 3 of 5. John Stemmer was 4 of 5. Superfan Emily Miller, 4 of 5. William Kirchmeier got them all right. Well done.
Good.
Ran the table. Nicely done, William. Odacop 67, 4 of 5. Rich Atwood, 4 of 5. Superfan Tracy Rothmeyers, 4 of 5. Nick Mamonis, 3 of 5. Superfan Mike D, 2 of 5. Superfan Superflex, 3 of 5. Daryl Johnston, 4 of 5. Kenneth Wilkinson, 4 of 5. Superfan Buddy Mills, tonight's Retrofan magazine winner, 4 of 5. Shannon Burns, 5 of 5. Brenda Bunch, 3 of 5. Superfan Lisa Fields, 5 of 5. Let's see what we got. Mike Jones says 3 of 4. I had to take a beer bathroom break. Tom McCluskey, 3 of 5. See you on Saturday, Tom. Edward Hanna, 3 of 5. Dolph Quick, 2 of 5 with a little tear-filled emoji. Miles Away from Home, got a late start, but was 2 of 3. And Keith Risk gave me this number. I do not know what that means, but I'm going to just say you did great, Keith. James Dye said missed the first 4, had to take a call. Darn it all.
Yeah.
And Laura Strobel says, Boy George was a great singer. He absolutely had a great voice. Great voice. Still does.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and we'll put this comment up here as well. Blatchy Bear says, love all the 80s bands. Tears for Fears, Songs from the Big Chair was one of my soundtracks during 85. Saw them twice in 85. That's how much I love Tears for Fears. All right. So, John, Collins.
Yeah.
It has been an absolute pleasure to have you here with me this evening, my friend.
Thank you so much, and I hope I did it all justice. I hope I was able to see that it's not about me, it's about everyone else, and the community is full of everybody, you know.
Absolutely, absolutely. You were great, and I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you.
And sharing a little bit of your insight, your wisdom, and talking about some cool movies. Folks, what is it? It's called Crip Camp, right?
Yeah.
So we've got a couple things to do. Those of us that haven't seen Mask for years, we should probably go back and watch that movie again. And then if you have Netflix, why not fire up Crip Camp and get a little insight into some of the challenges that other people have to deal with. I think it would be a worthwhile way to spend a couple of hours.
Yes.
All right, John, thanks so much. Here's what we're going to do on the way out. I've got an unboxing. Danny Staten sent me some really cool, nifty little things. So I'm going to play the unboxing, and then we're going to launch into a after-party video chat that will, I don't know how long it will last. We'll see. But I want to say to everyone, thank you for being here for tonight's live stream. Anything else you want to say, John?
No, thank you for having me. And I won't be in the chat, but thank you for having me.
No, thank you for being here. You have a great night, John. Take
All right,
care, buddy.
All right. Bye.
I have to admit, I am intrigued. Got this big package, and you can see it says glass all over it. And it's from my friend Danny Staten. First thing I see is a bookworm action figure. Wow, that is so cool. I was just talking about Roddy McDowell the other day. Thank you so much. We've got Catwoman as well. Oh my goodness. Julie Newmar edition. Batman. This is the Diedrich Bader Brave and the Bold version of Batman. Wow, that is very cool. Can't wait to put him in the Hall of Nostalgia. Then we've got some pictures. So let's take a look at these. Looks like it's Paul Lynde. It says Judy, Judy, Judy. I'm trying to figure out what that signature is. Oh no, this isn't Paul Lynde, that's George Lindsay there. And this is one of the fun girls from the Andy Griffith Show. So cool. Thank you, Danny. Look at the next one here. Got a couple here. The Duke. Nice. Very, very cool. And let's unwrap this other one. This is one of the cast of Dallas. Very nice as well. And lastly, oh yes, she's a Wonder Woman, Linda Carter. Wow. Thank you so much. The good news is, Danny, you wrote glass all over those boxes, and indeed, they made it safe and sound. Thank you so much. These will make nice additions to the Hall of Nostalgia. You are overly generous, my friend. Truly appreciate, your engagement on the channel as well as these wonderful pictures. Thank you so much.
Welcome, freshmen, to Montclair High School. This year, this class is special because this year, this class is challenged.
Oh, great.
How come it's so big? Are you gonna be late? What is
everyone older than you. Do you have a pass?
I'm looking for my homeroom.
I need your pass.
I'm new here.
I need your pass. Can't you go in the right direction? How come you just don't know what to do?
Welcome to Agronomy 2.
Whoops. By the end of the day, you're finding your place, learning the ropes, learning the pace. Time to get away to a familiar face. It's a good time for the great things.
50 pages tonight? Oh, great.
It's a good time for the great things.
Tomorrow will be better.
You mean we gotta go back? I'm McDonald.
The Wild Wild West is just one of those shows that defies description. Trying to explain the premise of this program causes many to dismiss the show as too silly, not worth their time. That said, those that haven't seen this crazy show starring Robert Conrad and Ross Martin as U.S. Secret Service agents during the administration of President Ulysses S. Grant are really missing out. And as good as Conrad and Martin were, this guy, actor Michael Dunn, he was even better. Dunn played Jim Gordon's arch nemesis, a crazy and utterly insane genius named Dr. Miguelito Loveless. As with any really good bad guy, he had a great backstory. His family had been taken advantage of by the U.S. government, or so he felt. Land that was destined to belong to the Loveless family was lost when California was granted statehood. Over the course of 10 episodes across 4 seasons, Dr. Loveless did his very best to exact sweet revenge. Of course, these efforts were always thwarted by Jim and Artie. I have to say that I really loved the character of Dr. Loveless. Dunn played him with such zeal. All good villains are full of enthusiasm and righteous indignation, and Loveless was no exception to that rule. Dunn himself was every bit the actor that Robert Conrad and Ross Martin were. He held his own against these two great talents, and those that know his history understand why that isn't all that surprising. From a very young age, Michael Dunn, born Geri Miller, was something of a child prodigy. Born with dwarfism, Dunn never let that affect how he saw himself. Of course, much of that had to do with very supportive parents, but it was also his infectious smile, the way he embraced life, his willingness to laugh at adversity and never ever let anything slow him down. And while he may not have been a genius at the same level of Dr. Loveless, Dunn was incredibly smart, learning to read and play piano at a very early age, somewhere around the age of 3, I'm told. Really, 3 years old? Holy crap, I don't think I could count to 10 when I was 3. As he got older, academics proved less exciting for Dunn than the creative arts. Michael loved to sing and perform and looked for every available opportunity to do so. After a brief stint in college and an even briefer stint studying Catholicism in a monastery, Michael made the decision to go for broke. He believed in himself, and he knew that if he could just get a chance, he could break into show business in a big way. Somewhere along the way, Dunn met Phoebe Doran. According to Wikipedia, the two began singing together and eventually started a nightclub act of songs mixed with conversational patter titled Michael, Dunn, and Phoebe. When Dunn was cast as Dr. Loveless, it only made sense that Phoebe would join him as Dr. Loveless's devoted assistant, Antoinette. In each episode in which they appeared, the villainous couple would tenderly sing a Victorian duet or two, ignoring the mayhem that they'd created around themselves. Okay, now I get to share the first heroic act of courage attributed to the man who played Dr. Loveless. According to Doran, Dunn saved her from drowning during the filming of an episode titled The Night of the Murderous Spring. When her costume became entangled in machinery used to sink a boat on the set, Michael plunged underwater to tear her free. Whether or not it was truly a life or death situation for Doran isn't really the point. Who knows, maybe she could have broken free on her own. What is the point is that Dunn didn't pause for a second to think about his size or whether or not he had the strength to save her. He just knew that he had to act. But there's more that we can say about this man. Dr. Loveless is portrayed by Dunn as one of the all-time great villains. Decades later, when the great Shakespearean actor Kenneth Branagh took a stab at Loveless in the feature film version of the show, it became even more clear just what a wonderful character Dunn had created during the show's original run. And of course, there were other memorable television performances by Dunn outside of the Wild Wild West. One of my favorites was on the original Star Trek TV series in an episode titled Plato's Stepchildren. Aside from Dunn's great performance as a court jester, this episode is also notable for Kirk and Uhura's kiss. Not much of a big deal now, but way back then, this simple act of interracial affection was pretty darn controversial. But enough about that, let's talk about Dunn's ongoing act of kindness, which resulted from the hundreds of letters that he would get from kids who were dealing with similar challenges as his own. In those letters, children would tell Michael about how lonely or discouraged they were. And it would have been easy for Michael to have someone send a signed picture or a form letter back to the kids, and I'm sure at times that may have happened, but many times Michael would either write the child back personally, or if he was close enough, he would visit the child in person. He knew what they were going through, and he wanted them to see that even though it wouldn't always be easy, they could rise above. They could achieve their dreams. On August 30th, 1973, Michael died in his sleep while filming a movie in London at the age of 38. Due to his dwarfism, he had a distorted ribcage that restricted his lung growth and function. The resulting respiratory insufficiency caused an overload of his heart's right chamber. His life was a short one, but it was meaningful in that he brought joy to everyone that he ever came in contact with. And for those of us who only knew him through our TV screens, it's good to know that there was so much more to this man than the villainous character that he played to perfection on the Wild Wild West. Alright, here's one last pick. It's that maniacal smile, I think, that really set Dunn apart from your standard run-of-the-mill villain. Simply put, Dr. Lovelace was the bomb. Great, great memories. Okay, now it's your turn. Share your memories in the comments section, and if you liked this video, I would truly appreciate a thumbs up, a share on Facebook or Twitter, and what the heck, why not consider subscribing to my channel? I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, thank you so much for watching.
One of the hottest rumors of the 70s was that Eddie Haskell from our show grew up to be Alice Cooper. Come to think of it, Ken Osmond, who played Eddie Haskell, never actually denied that rumor to me. What about to you?
Yeah, now that you mention it.
Hey, how can you guys compare that face to this face? You guys are dopier than I thought.
Eddie, what are you doing here?
Well, I didn't want you two making total fools of yourself on MTV, so I thought I'd swing by and add a little Haskell charm to help bail you guys out.
You know, Eddie, we loved you in your new video, The Man Behind the Mask.
Yeah, that black mascara bit. Looking great.
Look, you guys know that I am not Alice Cooper. I have never been Alice Cooper. I never will be Alice Cooper. Now, will you tell the folks out there I am not Alice Cooper?
We'll be right back.
Alice Cooper.
When I think back to the $6 Million Man, I recall epic adventures that played out on ABC TV each Sunday evening, as well as the equally epic adventures that played out in my mind. Yep, those imaginary adventures that I envisioned while daydreaming during school or playing with friends afterwards, well, they were just the best. I've got to say that I love the $6 Million Man. It was such a great show, and a lot of the love and affection I have for that show was due to Lee Majors. He was phenomenal in the role of Colonel Steve Austin, a NASA astronaut severely injured during an experimental test flight. Anyone who was a fan of the show knows what happens next. He's rebuilt to the tune of $6 million. A new eye, a new arm, and both legs replaced. As much robot as man, he is a cyborg. In fact, that was the name of the novel that the TV show was based upon. And my favorite episodes were those that were a little more fantastical. Okay, a lot more fantastical. Bigfoot, Hello Andre the Giant, aliens, fembots, and perhaps the most terrifying of all of the opponents faced, the seemingly indestructible Soviet-created death probe. This thing was made out of an alloy that was unknown to U.S. military intelligence. It had giant claws, slashing blades, and deadly laser beams. It was, quite simply, a $6 million man killing machine. The only thing more horrifying was that freaky mustache that Lee Majors was rocking during much of the fourth season. Why? Oh, why, Lee? Why? Fortunately, by the time season 5 rolled around, the stash was gone. Okay, back to the death probe. As you can see from this picture, Steve had his hands full with this thing. In fact, there were times during this season 4 two-parter that I really questioned how the $6 Million Man could emerge victorious. And in the end, it would take everything that he had, along with the assistance from both the US and Soviet governments. Side note here, I really enjoyed the two actors who played Russian Major Popov and the probe's creator and scientist Irina Leonova. Nehemia, I think I'm saying that, probably Nehemiah, Persoff, and especially Jane Merrill, reprising a character from season 1 of the show. They're really good character actors. So I mentioned my many imaginary adventures. A lot of that had to do with the really cool toys that were out there. Before Star Wars, it really felt like the $6 Million Man was the king of the toy aisle at Kmart. I could spend hours just wandering those aisles looking at all the cool things that were available. And yes, I wanted that bionic repair station and the backpack radio. Now, did I get either of them? I did not. Another really cool toy was the Death Probe. It was actually one of the final toys produced by Kenner for the $6 Million Man toy line. I guess the powers that be decided that you couldn't sell a toy to kids called the Death Probe, so it got a new name, the Venus Space Probe. Slightly less menacing, and it looked slightly different, but make no mistake, this is Dr. Leonova's insidious creation. The Death Probe would return in a Season 5 two-parter, but this time it was a new version, and of course it was improved, even more deadly. Seriously, folks, I don't know how Steve managed to keep the world safe week after week when he was going up against things like the Death Probe. Of course, by this time, every once in a while he'd have the assistance of the lovely Jamie Summers, his bionic female counterpart, so that kinda helped. Alright, that's all I've got on the deadly, deadly Death Probe. Still, here's one last pick. Call it a teaser if you want, because at some point I'm going to tackle those deadly fembots. What a great name. Such a great name, in fact, that Mike Myers swiped it when creating his Austin Powers movie series. Okay, now it's your turn. Share your memories in the comments section, and if you like this video, I would truly appreciate a thumbs up, a share on Facebook or Twitter, and what the heck, why not consider subscribing to my channel? I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, and as always, thank you so much for watching.
Hello out there. I'm Mr. Sulu of Star Trek. When I'm out in space, I use the Starship Enterprise to get around. When I'm here in Milwaukee, I ride the bus to save time and money. Your $5 weekly pass is a great buy. Your bus tickets, the greatest. Take it from a man who knows. Your Milwaukee County transit system is really out of this world.
Come ride with us on the bus.
Original hits, original stars create high energy. K-Tel's fantastic new album headlining Blondie. Gloria Gaynor, Captain and Tennille, and Foreigner. Super Stick. Pablo Cruz, Gino Vanelli, and the Pointer Sisters. Orleans. High energy, an incredible new album from K-Tel.
Available at Kmart.
If you were to ask most people what they remember about Family Affair, the CBS situation comedy from the late 60s, your average viewer would fondly recall a heartwarming television program full of love and laughter. But if you really think about it, was it really all that heartwarming? Maybe, but it was also incredibly heart-tugging and truly sad. Recently, in the comments section of a video that I put together about actor Johnny Whitaker, YouTuber I'm On Your Roof made that very point, saying, I always thought Family Affair had a creepy vibe to it, as if there was an undertone of pervasive sadness in their world. And like I said, after much reflection, I have to agree. Let's look at the main character, Bill Davis. When we are introduced to him, we learn that he's financially well off due to being a very successful civil engineer. But he's also a very lonely guy, lost in a big city, a perpetual bachelor looking for ways to connect with others, but never quite finding them. His closest friend, Giles French, is also employed as his valet. Were they friends before Davis put him on the payroll? Probably not. And then, just like that, Bill's world is turned upside down by the arrival of twins Buffy and Jody, and their older sister Sissy. What should be a joyous thing is anything but, because these kids have been orphaned. Their parents killed in a tragic car accident. Yeah, I know the DVD set says something about a plane accident, but trust me, it was a car accident. Yep, there's a laugh track on this show, but truthfully, folks, the premise, as you can see, is quite the opposite of hilarity. So they become this patchwork family, which again could be heartwarming, but then the viewer is also made aware that these children were shuffled from family member to family member, never quite finding a home until Uncle Bill reluctantly allows them into his, and then into his heart. Beyond the show's premise, Family Affair did not hesitate to tackle tough topics like terminal illness. In the episode Christmas Came a Little Early, Buffy has a friend who is terminally ill and will not make it to December 25th. The show does not hold back any emotional punches, and again hammers home the point that real life, even real life as depicted by a television situation comedy, isn't always unicorns and rainbows. Shout out to young Eve Plum here. Yep, that's the future Jan Brady for her portrayal of Buffy's sick friend. And for those of us who've revisited Family Affair in reruns or on DVD, there's also a general overall sense of melancholy due to the fact that many of the show's stars have passed on. Some, like young Anissa Jones, way too soon due to a drug overdose. And then there's the great actor Brian Keith, who took his own life in the late 90s. Brian was suffering from emphysema and lung cancer, and when you combine that with the untimely passing of his daughter Daisy, well, the best way to describe Brian's state of mind was that he was extremely distraught. He fell into a pit of despair that he simply could not climb out of. Even Sebastian Cabot did not have an easy go of things. Cabot, who was also well known as a voice actor in many Disney animated movies, suffered a stroke in the late 70s and passed away at the way too young age of 59. Okay, so despite all that heavy stuff, if you've never had the pleasure of Family Affair, don't for 1 minute think that it is not worthwhile viewing. In fact, I would highly recommend it. The writing on the show is sophisticated and crisp, and the acting, well, everyone on the show is great. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber in the US, you can watch Family Affair there. I'll post a link to the very first episode in this video's description field. Alright, here's one last pick. Man, those kids were sure cute. Okay, now it's your turn. Share your memories in the comments section, and if you like this video, I would truly appreciate a thumbs up, a share on Facebook or Twitter, and what the heck, why not consider subscribing to the channel? I talk about music, movies, and television, mostly from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. You know, the good stuff. But most importantly, as always, thank you so much for watching.